Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something pretty interesting today. I was really drawn to what you shared about that feeling you get after a solo trip.
Oh, yeah?
You know, when you're back in your own space, but it doesn't quite feel like home yet.
Right.
It made me think about how we experience that contrast, you know?
Yeah.
The excitement of exploring on your own, then that unexpected loneliness when you're back.
It's so strange, isn't it?
It is. You described it so well in your writing, too. Like all those little details, the quiet apartment, the phone that's eerily silent.
Yeah.
You even mentioned imagining conversations you'd have that never actually happened.
It's like you expect things to just click back into place.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know, trying to wear clothes that don't quite fit anymore.
Right. Exactly. So for you, what really stood out in those descriptions? What resonated?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think those tiny, almost insignificant details, they actually reveal something really profound about us as humans. Like our deep need for connection. You know,
Yeah.
You go on this journey, you grow and change, and then there's this natural instinct to want to share all that.
Mm-hmm.
But when that's stifled, when you can't quite connect, it creates this disconnect. And I think it's especially heightened for solo travelers.
It's like coming back with all these stories bursting at the seams, but no one to tell them to.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're right, it's not just travel, is it?
No, not at all.
Big life changes, a new job, moving, or even just a period of intense, like, personal growth.
Yeah,
They can all have that same effect.
absolutely. I mean, anytime we evolve quickly, in a short space of time, we inevitably come back to a world that hasn't changed at the same pace.
Right.
And that's when that whole idea of homecoming gets kind of complicated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, you've gone and gotten yourself a little culture shock,
Right.
but in reverse.
Yeah.
Even though technically you're back in a familiar place.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Like your internal compass has totally shifted.
Mm-hmm.
But the world around you,
Yeah.
it's still on that old setting.
I like that. That's a good way to put it. And you know, what I found really interesting in your writing was how you captured that kind of like emotional tug of war.
Yeah.
You don't shy away from those tougher feelings, the
Right.
loneliness, even a bit of self-doubt that can pop up.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's this thread of resilience, too. Totally.
Of coming through the other side even stronger.
You know, that's what I found so fascinating about solo travel. It really forces you to rely on yourself
Right.
in a way that we don't always have to in our everyday lives.
That's true.
Navigating new environments, making decisions on the spot.
Yeah.
It really builds up that inner strength.
It does. And it made me think about something you wrote about having to be your own safety net.
Mm-hmm.
When you're the one calling the shots, you become so much more aware of your own capabilities.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And you bring back that awareness, like a hidden souvenir from your travels.
I love that.
It's easy to get stuck on those trickier emotions, you
Right.
know, the loneliness, the feeling out of place.
Yeah.
But what if, and this is just a thought.
What if we try to reframe that story a little?
Oh, okay, I like where this is going.
Instead of thinking I'm coming home to nothing, how about I'm coming home with everything I've learned?
Oh, I love that.
It's a subtle shift,
It is.
but it's powerful.
It is. It's not about what's missing externally.
Right.
It's about what you've gained internally.
Exactly.
I like that a lot.
And that growth, it can manifest in some pretty unexpected ways. You mentioned this urge to share your experiences, but not always knowing how.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about other ways to sort of process all of that?
And like what? Yeah, totally. Sometimes I feel like the traditional ways to share, they just, I don't know, they fall short.
Right. Like, how do you sum up all that in a casual conversation?
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Exactly.
You know, one thing that can be surprisingly powerful is journaling.
Oh, yeah. I love journaling.
It's like you're having a conversation with yourself,
Totally.
but like the most insightful, honest conversation, because it's just you and the page.
It's true. Nobody to impress or censor yourself for.
Exactly. And you can process everything you've learned at your own pace.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, you know, traditional journaling, even just jotting down thoughts, impressions.
Right. Like little snippets of things.
Exactly. Whatever comes to mind. Or think about other creative outlets.
Ooh, yeah.
Like maybe art speaks to you or music. Some people even find that just rearranging their living space, like physically shifting things around,
Oh, interesting.
can help reflect that inner shift they've gone through.
I like that. So it's not just about expressing the experience. It's about aligning your external world with the internal changes.
Exactly. And another thing to think about, remember how you mentioned feeling this kinship with fellow travelers.
Yeah.
Even if you just met, it was like this instant understanding.
Totally. Like they just got it.
Right. There's something really powerful about that shared experience.
It is.
And that validation, it can make a world of difference.
It really can.
So even though it feels like you're coming back to this, solo experience, don't underestimate the power of connection.
Yeah.
Online communities can be amazing for that.
Oh, for sure.
Travel meetups, or even just striking up conversations with people who've had similar experiences.
Yeah.
Those connections, they can help bridge that gap.
It's like finding your tribe, even if they're scattered all over the place.
Exactly. You're not alone in this.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. It really makes you think about those solo journeys in a whole new light.
It really does.
And for me, it highlights how the journey doesn't truly end when you come home. It's more like that's when the real integration begins,
Absolutely. It's a process.
It is. It's so easy to get caught up in that pressure to bounce back immediately.
Right. Like you're supposed to be back to normal.
Yeah. But real integration, it takes time.
It does. Be kind to yourself.
Yes. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I have one final question for you.
Okay, sure.
Imagine you could send a postcard back to yourself right before your trip, knowing everything you know now. What would it say?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What advice would you give yourself?
I think I'd tell myself to really embrace all the emotions that come up, even the tough ones, the loneliness, the uncertainty, because they're all part of it, and they're shaping you, even when you don't realize it.
That's such a great point. It's not just about the highlight reel.
Exactly. Embrace the messiness.
Love it. Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing this deep dive with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to everyone listening, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep coming home to yourselves. Until next time.